Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Hello, world. This is the Podlair team doing what we do. Today is going to be a Truth Fire Journal session where we cover major bubble demographics and the various human qualia mojo that are in them. And I am Naiji Coach, a level 53 Podlair practitioner. And with me I have?
Naiji Ben, and I think I'm level 24.
Excellent. So. All right. So we'll go ahead and just jump right into it. Let's see. Let me pull up the document. Alrighty, let me know.
Anything comes to my mind?
Yep, and if you see this. Boom, you seeing that?
Yep.
All right, so today I got a bunch of Xeni.
Cool.
All right, so I'll take odds. First up, Xeni Diane Black. She reminds me of someone, but I can't think of who it is. She reminds me of somebody. Like I think we have someone in our collection looks a little bit like her.
Yeah, that's interesting. She looks like she could be like a, I don't know, kind of like a secretary or like a, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking actually like a scientist too.
There's scientists too.
Scientists look like that.
Yeah.
All right, next up is you.
Xeni Mike Bost.
There it is, localized emoting.
Got that kind of steam engine face.
Yeah, right, steam engine, that's good. I.Z. Charles Bustani Jr.
I love a picture on the right. He's like, he's shy, like unaware. He's also kind of
totally,
and his he's kind of doing like a brow lift, but it kind of has still has kind of a squinty look. So it's kind of
there's a little perk up there, but that squint is still kind of the dominant thing. Very true. Good observation.
He's like, well, you know.
Right. Wow. Let my shy weigh that for a second.
Yeah.
Right. That's you.
Xeni Muriel Bowser.
Pretty classic there.
Mm-hmm.
Xeni Brendan Boyle. Nice power head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing the affable thing, but that smile is fairly localized and unaware.
Yeah. It looks like a very soft smile, despite it. His face, like being very, big and powerful.
Yeah,
looking.
True. It does help soften the overall countenance.
Yeah.
Good point.
Xeni David Bratt.
Yeah, he took a little while to get just because he has this whole kind of like the coiffed hair and he's very, very affable and so forth. But I believe that is a Xeni. Those are power cheeks.
Yeah, he's kind of he's got that Zenez kind of or I guess maybe Zez Alpha kind of look where it's like, they're very friendly, but you can still see like their whole face is kind of like this like static brick basically.
Yeah.
Apart from around the mouth, there you can do the smiling in the eyes. You can kind of see like the Nez energy going on. So it's kind of
It does give it a good combination. He's got that strong bracing look, but the smile helps kind of bring it all together as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to look at him for a little bit. Xeni Byron Brown. Straightforward there. Next one is you right there.
Xeni Corinne Brown or Corinne.
Yeah, for good ones, you plug all these in, you know how to kind of go through the whole thing from top to bottom and just make sure nothing shakes out.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good to go. We can just use the team. Get her. I.Z. Vern Buchanan. He's got the squinty eyes. The zhai does go up above the lip line into that mustache area more. So that's actually a Xeni. We had a fairly big head. I take a look at that for a second.
Yeah, it's interesting. It still feels like very much so like downward energy. He's not really doing a he's not really doing a smile, so you don't see that it like
Right.
the mulling doesn't really look like it's too much going off to the side, like as much as you'd see with like if he was smiling. Um, so the down, but you can still see like, but because of the way he's making his expression, the molding seems more distinct towards like the center of the face. It looks like, but still above the lip line a bit at least.
Yeah, and a little more energy in that lower lip.
Yeah. Zenai, Larry Buxton.
Reminds me of some coaches you've seen, sports
Yeah,
coaches.
yeah, I get that too.
Sinai G.K. Butterfield. Yeah, he's pretty classic, except for he's got some strong subjective power use. He looks a little sleepier than some Zenai.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
He's pretty classic besides that, but that one thing did make me look at him a little longer. But when I saw a video, I didn't see anything to make me think not Zenai.
Yeah, like the eye can kind of make the eyes more cunning and squinty, and the shy can kind of, I mean, the way it modulates the Z, it sort of gives off a tired signal as well.
Yeah, they both kind of soften and also seem a little sleepier.
Yeah. It's interesting how it like affects like a Zenai as compared to like if you're like Nijez or something, and your logic-based power use actually modulates you as opposed to values-based.
Very true.
Because I often associate like the sleepier look with like the Zai or the Z because of how it manifests in Nijez, and I see so many of them. But it's interesting to see it in a Zenai, for example.
Yeah, because usually with them, their Zez power, their logic-based power, it actually gives them this sort of like, up forward energy.
Yeah.
You?
Zenai Kirk Caldwell.
He is a happy Zenai. I wonder if that's because he's the mayor of Honolulu.
Yeah, it seems like a nice job.
Good gig if you can get it.
Yeah.
All right. Zenai Tony Cardenas. Pretty straightforward. Got the apple smile, but pretty animally.
Yeah, he's got kind of those rounder features, the kind of rounder anvil features, I guess. I don't know, like rounder,
you're right.
It's round but very like full face and forward, and
And the cheeks don't move much, but you're right. They're not their movement lines, but their static lines are more rounded. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why sometimes on those times, I think a video can be very helpful, so you can see what it looks like with movement, or at least like a lot of pictures.
Yeah, that's true. Zenai Andre Carson. It's kind of got a. It's interesting. Like you can see the widening kind of the mulling going off to the sides. Really, with any of the logic based mojos, like when they smile in particular, because like the Zez momentum, like the mulling not going into the cheeks always like blocks it off. So like the picture on the left, for example, you can kind of see it go off to the sides a bit.
Yeah, because he's getting a pretty good smile there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the energy.
But I do notice like with G, it seems like that signal is a little more obvious. Like with Shy, it's a little like unless they're doing like a full smile, it seems like it's a little hard to see the signal of it going off to the sides a lot. We most obviously notice it with a particular like Nizai and such.
Yeah, actually, all the Zai mojos. You're right.
Yeah.
With the Zai mojos, it does go off the side some, but more it goes, I think, down. I think because the emphasis on the lower lip.
Yeah, it going down sort of makes it less like that. That's why like Cheshire Cat's more exclusively like Nizai-ish or Zaini. Not really Zaini, but you know what I mean. I mean that quality of it.
Sideways thing, I think, for all Zai mojos, the Cheshire Cat is specifically for the two Zez gatherers.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a little different from the Zai and the G. It still doesn't go above the midline, but it kind of like dissipates its energy below the midline differently if it's Zai or G.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Zenai Jason Chavets. pretty affable. And you can see here that when I saw them going down, like that left, his mouth's pretty big there. You see that energy going down. Doesn't make the cheeks move at all. But you're right, it doesn't go very much sideways, it's more down.
Yeah. It kind of goes along with like the anvil crashing down, I guess. I don't know. Like I kind of get that. Like he's kind of like articulating the picture on the left. It sort of looks, I don't know, like an anvil is moving downward. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. It's quite strong. On the right, you see a little bit of the sideways action as he tries to, like, purposely make a smile. You see the anvil just holding the neutralizing on the cheeks and down on the that lip plate.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes out the side here. Also seems like in general, not always, but sometimes that the Jai smiles just in general aren't, on most Jai users, aren't as wide as Xi. Xi seems to be a wider emoting, and often the Jai kind of like opens up into a long oval. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, that's you.
Zenai Stephen S. Choi.
Yeah, you see right there, that big smile, it's down. It's a little bit sideways, but more down.
Yeah, and more like kind of oval-like, as you mentioned.
Yeah, like
G is kind of like, it tries to be more like, it's just what we're talking about. It's like kind of more of a, I guess it's more often like flatter on the upper lip, I guess. I guess maybe because of the Zai, and then I don't know. Yeah, but you can still see the emphasis of the G there, so it's kind of, I don't know. That's kind of why Jai, I guess, seems more downturned, I guess.
Could be. Also, the kind of opening down is more like a resonating, kind of like you're like, whoa. Whereas the Xi is kind of like, it wants to take up space so it can be seen like a billboard. It's like, hey.
Yeah.
How you doing? All right, Zenai David N. Sicilline. He's a very affable looking Zenai. You do see it going sideways there, but he's almost trying to do like a Xi maneuver here, where he's like trying to do a very purposeful, emotive smile to like be reassuring.
Yeah.
But it looks, one I noticed is that even when it goes sideways as compared to the Xi, it looks more static and held. Xi looks more like active. It has a more active energy.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Go ahead,
I mean, he kind of looks like his mouth almost looks kind of, I don't know, kind of dog-like. I'm not really sure how to describe it. Almost like, like when a dog kind of like bares its teeth.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if that's because I mean that's. I'm not exactly sure what I'm knowing there. I guess about like the.
Might be just because he looks a little bit sort of unnatural and maybe even stiff. So maybe it kind of like makes him look like he's baring his teeth, because his teeth kind of pop out, and it's like he's holding it there.
Yeah.
Because when dogs bare their teeth, that's what they do, is they open it and they kind of just hold their teeth for you to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the unique expression he was making in that picture. And the picture on the right looks like she's kind of doing it too.
Yeah, she is. She's really making it big, but it has that sort of holding it kind of feel to it, where the Xi kind of looks like it's pushing.
Yeah.
It's like, notice me. Where her, she's kind of like just holding it in place.
Yeah, it's like the Jai is using it to, Jai is kind of like, the Z and the Jai is positioned the way like to prop up the smile, whereas the G sort of kind of is aware, so it kind of just does it, I guess, more naturally, I guess.
Yeah, well, also I think on the naturalness is the depending on what the Jai, the emotive power is more innately designed for. Jai as a tower power is kind of designed to like hold your space. But in these pictures they're using their Jai for basically a presentation maneuver. And when it comes to presentation emoting, Xi is more natural that way. But any power, I mean, any combination of powers can be used to do various maneuvers. But here, this is sort of like a, hi, nice to meet you. You know what I mean? It's like trying to like be very reassuring, very proactive, and kind of connecting. So actually, she's using more of her Z really because it's a frontal maneuver, but then the Zhai is heavily engaged to make it, sincere, authentic, reassuring, safe.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does look slightly more awkward, say, than G does, which is part of its charm too.
That's true. Yeah.
Vi Z Kurt Clausen. So again, the Zhai a little longer. You see here, it goes a little longer in general. The oval of the Zhai is a bit longer with the Zez Hunters than the Z Alpha. And then also you see here, there's a little flexations in his mustache area. Not in the cheeks, but in the mustache area, as opposed to the Zenai, where they don't have the mustache area either.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah, kind of like the I guess the triangle I'm seeing, or the sort of emotive area I'm seeing, is like I guess where his dimples are. I mean, it seems roughly how high the moan's going up in that picture.
Yeah, that's where the main emoting is, and there's some slight flexations, a little higher than the mustache, but not a lot. It kind of like it slows down. You know what I mean? Not a full stop like it would be for Z Alpha, but the emoting definitely starts to slow down in that mustache area, and then by the time it hits the cheeks here, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Zenai, Emmanuel Cleaver.
He had a bit of a longer face than some of the Zenai we've seen.
Yeah.
And he is using his Zhai to kind of give like a heavy resonance. So he's longer face and he uses a good amount of Zhai in his game.
Yeah.
But again, his mustache area doesn't move much. On the right, he's kind of still. But here on the left, where he's articulating, we were talking at the time, like, he's articulating, but his Z is pushing down.
I get that a lot from I guess the Zenai especially. It just feels like their upper lip is just like really, I guess clamped down. I mean, not really clamped, but sort of just like really pressed, kind of, in a natural state. Kind of.
Yeah, feels like a heaviness to it. It's like weighted down. It doesn't want to move.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it can be very active when they articulate. They can talk, especially the Zenai. They can talk very, very fast and continuously. But as they do so, the upper lip gets more not moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like Donald Trump, for example, is like that too. Most of his emoting, he'll say something and then he'll kind of like, yeah, I said that. You know what I mean? His Zhai comes in on the pauses, but not when he's actually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Zenai Dan Clodfelter.
His mustache is pretty like.
That's pretty.
He has a really big. Yeah, it's cool.
And he has a bit of a kind of a grandfatherly energy that softens him. So I had to take a look at him. But I mean, he's a Zenai. He's just kind of got that mustache and the.
Yeah.
And
the mustache, I think, makes it a lot harder to read. Like it's because it's just like it seems to be covering like the entirety of his upper lip, but still,
yeah.
You can still see it. I mean,
noting tracking a lot harder to do. You're right. And the eyes, he also has a good amount of subjective power use. So his eyes a little more heavy.
Yeah. A little more tricky, huntery energy in the eyes.
And a little more sort of watchful looking.
Yep.
Where a lot of times the pilots have like this, ready to pounce kind of energy feel. Zenai Mike Kaufman. Pretty straightforward, although he's very affable.
Oh, that picture on the left is pretty interesting. Is that kind of like a Zhai, like, is he like almost like grimacing, sort of?
It is. He's doing that Zhai held smile, but it almost looks like a grimace. You're right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like both held and a kind of grimace and a smile.
Did you say that or did I say that?
Oh. You said it was a Zhai.
I think I took a turn. So you take the next two.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Vi Z, Tom Cole.
He's got a big head.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of kind of that sort of pinched concern look.
Vi Z kind of a lot of times look very grim to me. I don't know.
Yes. No, the Vi, you're right. It's that grimness, for lack of a better term. I'm sure other mojos, other people see it differently, but for me, I'm with you. I see it as a bit of a grimness, and it's one of the things that helps me to tell them apart from Der Serves. You know what I mean? Where they have the Nye with the Z. It doesn't have that grimness. Because the Z Vi also have that, like a lot of the soccer players and so forth, and the NASCAR drivers. They're Z Alpha, but they have that grimness, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
Go, take it away.
Z9, Bonnie Watson Coleman. She's kind of using a lot of modulation in the picture on the right, it looks like. Kind of the right Jai Headtail with the eyes perked up.
Yeah, she's got like
but she's also kind of doing an eye drift too, sort of. I'm not sure if she's looking out at something or if that's.
I think she is, and she's sort of like awaiting the response, or kind of like seeing how it's going to come back, because her Jai looks like it's set. It's set for him.
Yeah, it looks like she's looking out at something. So it's kind of
preparing for its response.
Yeah.
On the left, she's using a good amount of Jai too, but again, it goes sideways and has that held look.
Yeah.
Not that popping out look.
It's almost like kind of like when you throw a ball, there's like a downward trajectory. I imagine like the Jai energy is basically like it's pushing kind of off to the side, but it's also like moving downwards. So it's like the trajectory of like, I don't know, it like just visualizing. It's like if you were to stand and you had a ball in your right hand, ball in left hand, you sort of threw them out off to the sides. It would kind of go outward, but also downward, sort of the mode energy.
I see what you're saying. I think a bit is because the energy of the downward versus the upward. Because like I think like when the Z mojos use their Jai, it has that. Well, actually all Jai mojo users, but it has that long oval quality going up and down the face, and it goes more down. Like the oval, like see here in her lips. Usually when they open them up, the oval naturally with Jai wants to go down.
Yeah.
It also goes up a little bit. And it's that a little bit that it goes up that if your logic base gets smushed sideways. The upward press of the oval. Yeah. But since the oval tends to go more downward, they don't get that as much. Now with the G, say with the Ni Zai, Zai Ni, and so forth, the other Zai mojos, is that the G naturally wants to leap up. And because the midline doesn't allow for that so much with the logic-based mojo, there's a lot of energy driving up and then smacking into that neutralizing, which I think makes that wide smile. Do you know what I mean? Because there's like a lot of upward leaping energy that like hits a ceiling and then spreads sideways. Like a lot of times, like the Ni Zai and V Zai, they have like their upper lip is like really like long and wide. You know what I mean? Like you see it like it doesn't, which is why it's very distinct. It doesn't go up the face, but it really spreads out like almost like there's an energy going upward. And then hits a wall, and like the water then shoots both sides to release the tension.
Yeah, that's interesting. So like the smile and the mode of energy still kind of causes the emoting to fill up the space of the lip line. So you'll still see some you'll still see a mode of energy go into the lip area and so forth. But it still has a propensity to go down for Jai users. So it's interesting. It's kind of like the mouth is causing, like the way your emoting comes out in your expression, like causes the energy to go different directions. But then from there, the energy, like after that, the energy naturally moves downward.
Right.
So it's, I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, no, because they both have a trajectory, up and down as the mouth just naturally widens with the emoting.
Yeah.
But like with the G mojos, as our mouth opens, it doesn't tend to open as much downward. It tends to open up more upward naturally.
Interesting.
All right, we have 5 minutes left. Can you give me any tidbits what's going on in the presidential? Have you noticed anything lately?
Yeah. I've noticed like the general election polls are kind of like all over the place right now. It's there's like a poll that released today that had Trump up like 5 points, like another had him up like 3 points, another that had Clinton up like 6 points. So usually this early on, yeah, it's an interesting time like this early on because the primaries aren't like technically over yet,
Right.
and much of the public isn't um, really quite in general election mode yet. So people still have mixed feelings about the different candidates, and there's a lot of like Bernie Sanders supporters who've said, "Oh, I'm never going to vote for Hillary Clinton," and so forth. And I think that's probably hurting your numbers probably fairly significantly. Um, Donald Trump, recently finished his campaign, and he's kind of like, I mean, he's trying to get, build up support within his own party and so forth. Um, so I guess it's not. We're at a stage where it's not really clear, like whether, like how well they're doing, because it's just kind of confusing. What Bernie Sanders supporters are going to do. How this, Trump, working with his own party and what voters within different, uh, different ideologies within the Republican Party are going to be on board with. So, but usually what starts to happen is after the convention, and it becomes really official that we're in general election mode. The numbers start becoming very predictive as far as what's going to happen there. It's interesting. I did also notice that with down ballot races on the Republican side in the 2012 and 2010 elections, the candidates who have been consistently winning in the Senate primaries, so the primaries that will decide the nominee for the Senate in each state, have been in recent years they've been Tea Partiers, so very far right conservatives. They came with that very very socially liberal movement. Conservative movement.
Right.
Not liberal.
I was wondering about it for a second. I was like, okay, there you
go. But it seems that that this year it seems more competitive candidates, more traditional conservative candidates have been winning and been doing very well in the primaries. And it also doesn't.
Did that surprise you at all? The Trump's numbers, because I had thought that a lot of people were saying that his numbers were going to be their strongest in the primary because of how basically control-ish he'd been, but because of that and that trollishness appealed to his base, but that was going to give him lots of negatives, and that when he moved into the general election, that those negatives would be a problem. But these first polls you're talking about seem to say that maybe that's not the case, which is scary.
It's interesting because like these are there's been many polls throughout this cycle, and they've basically all been favoring Clinton. But for some reason, the past couple of weeks, there's been a total of 3 polls that have favored Trump winning.
Right.
But the other several have been for Clinton. So overall, she's still leading on average.
Okay.
It's just that for some reason we're starting to like the general election polling is getting a bit tighter.
I guess I was wondering, do you have any speculations on why those new polls have a different trend to them?
My speculation is, I guess my biggest one is that Sanders supporters have their opinion of Hillary Clinton has been declining over time throughout the primary process,
right.
And we're at the stage where like it's not like it's become like abundantly clear that he's going to lose, but it's like at a stage where people haven't really totally accepted it yet, so they're kind of.
And it sounds like maybe once they do accept it, they're going to be angry about it.
Yeah, it sounds like they're just very angry at the he's not winning. I mean that's my impression, because her policy positions haven't changed or anything like that. Just through the heat of the primary process, it seems that way. So it could be that. I mean that's it's definitely her favorability among Bernie Sanders supporters has definitely gone down considerably over the primary process. And another thing is that Hillary Clinton is the least favored nominee in history on either side, except for Donald Trump. So,
wow. I do that. That's what I was going to wonder about, is that Clinton has had a lot of negatives as well. Like, where there's a lot of people that would want to vote for anyone who isn't her. But I think Trump, like you said, he's got worse than that than her. But she doesn't have low negatives herself, unfortunately, because she's always been, I think. There's probably lots of reasons to this, but just like a general trend, I've noticed this: the more media exposure she gets, not just now, but in her whole career, she tends to have her unfavorability go up. When she's kind of seen as like the female political force, the first female this and that and so forth, and also, generally comes as like being like against conservatives. That's when she's most favorable. But when she starts being like asked questions about her policy and she spends more time talking, maybe it's her personality, her delivery, maybe it's flip-flopping, maybe it's other things like that. But it seems like the more, if this makes any sense, for a person as famous as she is, she actually does a lot better when she's not on camera.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know what the exact reasons for that are, but generally, whenever she spends a lot of time on camera, she gets a lot of pushback from, I don't know, just the way she says things, or things I've heard is that her attitude, her trustworthiness, her flip-flopping, and the fact that she actually will say anything to get elected. Now, I haven't studied enough to know how much all the things are true, other than those opinions seem to go up the more she is exposed in public sphere.
Yeah, I mean, I do think people are probably being, I guess one big thing is that she's by far the most successful non-outsider candidate running on either side. So, to a certain extent, like the Bernie Sanders movement and the Donald Trump movement, I believe, are definitely feeding off of each other. Because like when Donald Trump gets the general election, he's going to bring up like a lot of the same arguments that Bernie Sanders was making. Of course, he's going to present them in a way that's that he would never present them, and probably, like I think his nickname. He has a nickname. I'm sure you're aware of this. He has a nickname for like all of his opponents, and it's always like an insultive like adjective, like in front of their first name. So
like
Line Ted, and there's like, let's see, Rubio. What do you call Rubio? I don't know. I can't remember them exactly. But he's calling like Crooked Hillary, that crazy Bernie. So, but it's
Bernie's like, that's right.
so I mean, he's making her out to be like this, this crooked politician, and his whole platform is like, oh, I'm not a politician. Politicians don't know how to get anything done, whatnot. So
I think the chance of Hillary being crooked is probably quite high. Based on things you've heard and just the people who are insiders in general. But Donald Trump, he was crooked way before he got into politics. I mean, he's just crooked from start to finish. Do you see the latest thing? I saw this on a comedy thing where early on in his career, he actually pretended to be his own PR person.
He did?
On his phone. It's his voice. But and he was asked about it years ago. He actually said, yeah, it's me, I guess. And then now he's asked the same question. And now he says, no, that's not my voice. Lots of people do impressions of me. It could be anyone. He's telling, it's clearly, it sounds a lot like his voice. And I believe he actually copped to it when he's asked about it early on. And now it's being brought up again. Now that he's going for presidential, he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's interesting. I think like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the site. There's a site called PolitiFact. And it basically, it takes the various, statements that presidential candidates make, and posts a report, a well-researched report on the truth, how truthful it is. There's a spectrum of like true, mostly true, half true, mostly false, false, and like there's like this pants on fire section that's basically reserved for like, this is like blatantly like a lie,
There's no truth in here at
all. And I think like 76% of the statements that they've written about are like for Donald Trump are like variations of false. So So
he doesn't care at all. He basically just says whatever he thinks will make his constituents happy, and they apparently don't bother with fact checking. That's irrelevant.
Yeah. So like,
yeah. Good. You're saying?
Oh no, I don't really have much more to say. But
okay, that was a very, very good session, and I'm glad someone showed up today. I'll make sure to do itineraries in the future.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it was probably just, I don't know, people didn't notice that the hangout was sent to them and they thought maybe it'd be tomorrow. I don't know, but
no worries.
These things happen.
They do indeed. We will continue on. All right, have a wonderful evening, and we just dropped 24 new politicians on the world. Wow.
All right, awesome. That was great, Coach. Hope you have an awesome night.
You too, and I will see you soon on Sunday.
See you then.
See you then.